All right, I am Pops, and yes, I am not a big Star Trek fan, but I love watching these Star Trek original series episodes, some of them for the first time. However, this week, Space Seed, the Khan episode, the episode that I am familiar with, that I've watched probably more than any other. So this may not be as, I don't know, off the cuff and weird as most of you might expect, because this is one that I actually knew pretty well. All right, I am Pops, and yeah, I've been walking through the Star Trek original series. The production order is given to me by Corporeal Life Form, and yeah, this week is Space Seed, the great discovery and great character of Khan, played by Ricardo Montalban, who just is absolutely fantastic. Then, and obviously, Wrath of Khan is by far my favorite Star Trek film. So this is one of those that's so well connected. I obviously looked it up, spent some time rewatching it. I think I always enjoy Ricardo Montalban's performances. I think he's fantastic, and this doesn't disappoint in any way, shape, or form.
We offered the world order.
We.
All right, this episode is pretty simple. There's going to be a distress signal. They're going to find a ship. They're going to go aboard. They're going to counter a conflict, and they're going to bring that conflict aboard the Enterprise, and that's how we're going to resolve it. Is one of the best. I love this episode so much. I've watched this more than any other episode by far. I enjoy the fact that it kind of unwraps kind of slowly. We kind of get a nice lead in. The performances are just fantastic as always. We get great shots of the ships. We get to see the Botany Bay next to the Enterprise, which I think is probably one of the coolest things for me. I love this shot right here. I think this is fantastic having the models next to one another like that. Then, of course, this is the first time I think so far, and again, the order that we're going in, where we get McCoy actually pushing back a little bit on not wanting to beam down. He does the whole listen. I don't really like. I signed on to be a doctor. I didn't really want my particles sort of like vaporized and separated and transported. That sort of piece that comes across in Star Trek Motion Picture kind of carries on through. I love that element of McCoy, and up until this point, I haven't really felt like we've seen that really kind of manifest as well. We also see that element with McCoy a little bit later when he has Khan on the bed there in the medical bay, and Khan is actually faking that he's awake. He had gotten a little knife off one of the displays and puts it to his throat. I love a man that's brave. And it's just this great moment of learning more about Khan and how duplicitous he is, but also McCoy. This feels like a major leap forward in the McCoy character in this episode. Now, I'm not trying to discount the others. I'm just trying to say it feels like everything is coalescing of who McCoy really will be going forward. And I don't know if that holds true time and time again, but I feel like this is the McCoy that I know and that I love. So when they beam aboard the Botany Bay and they find them all in their sort of spinning animation, I love the fact that they kind of manufacture this faux science of the heart rate monitoring, how long you can be alive or not be alive. So it's fine. It works. Their outfits were very, very strange. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. I don't understand what the mythology would be that would work and make this seem like a good idea. But hey, it is what it is. He doesn't stay in the costume very long, but I thought it was very strange. This is MacGyver. She's the red shirt that goes along for this episode. Just a historian, just loves the 90s, I guess, because that's what all the illusions are. And of course, Khan learning that they've been asleep for 2 centuries. It kind of sets everything up later for the conflict of how long has he been down for and who is he. All that kind of is what's transpiring here with Kirk and Spock in particular, going through the data, going through the records. She's sort of like totally enamored, not even been a gray area. And here he is again. Is he awake or not? And this is the lead up to McCoy. Now, again, I said it before. Ricardo Montalban is just fantastic. I mean, he's just one of these characters that didn't get necessarily these massive acting roles, even in that era. Like everyone knew, I grew up in the era of like Fantasy Island, and obviously this was Star Trek. And there were a few other things that kind of took off here and there. And obviously, then you had this major leap forward that came years later with the Naked Gun. So there's a few things along the way, but he embodies a Trek villain that is so next level. It's just he's just fantastic. It never gets old watching any of this. I thought this was very interesting. They kind of have this odd setup where they're all going to sit around and drink things and socialize a little bit. And obviously, the dress is a little different here, where they wear their medals. I don't know that I've seen that a lot so far this rewatch process. I'm watching them in order, so I'm seeing the progression of things. So I kind of like that. Um, I love the fact that it's lit well. It's just this is such a thing that old Trek gets right. And I don't know if it's probably new Trek or not. I've no desire to watch it. I know what happens in Star Wars and Marvel and other things. It's like I feel like everyone in the show takes the show serious. I know that sounds like a weird, serious, obvious thing to do, but if the people in it don't feel like they're really in that world and you feel like they're just invested and believable, it doesn't come through. I think when we see things that have all these modern messaging, all these little things kind of interwoven in it, you get removed because they don't feel like they're in it. They feel like they're cosplaying, dinner theory that platform into their own thing. Like like Riva in Star Wars felt like just some person that was lifted out of inner city Baltimore to just pretend to be a Sith for the show. She never ever felt like she was in Star Wars. And that's just part of the problem with her character. I don't get any of that with Kirk. I don't get any of that with Khan. I get characters that are just totally invested of who they are. Again, beautifully lit, music score is fantastic. Everything is heightened at the perfect ways, perfect pace, everything. Look at that. He doesn't even have buttons on this coat. I thought this coat had buttons, and I must admit, they are showing off that chest, man. And this is where he goes full on authoritarian, like you're either with me or you're not. And he just does this squeeze your hand to make you drop to my knees, and she just totally buckles and caves. And this did not age well. I mean, I would assume that women should be outraged over this or this type of thing, but it's showing that how a tyrant and how a woman being abused would submit themselves and stay submitted. I have to admit, this does everything it's supposed to do with making me feel uncomfortable and disliking Khan and feeling bad for her. It does all of the right emotions that I should be feeling. And I know that's kind of a weird way to dissect a scene like this, but the way you do a scene like this is you are trying to get those levels of emotions to all play out and piece together perfectly so you can move all the characters forward accordingly, right? So I don't want this, it has to be believable. This actually would work. You have to feel as though she, for some reason, is going to submit. And even if she's going to betray Khan later, it's not to the point or the deficit that she would leave him permanently. We do get a lot more Scotty in this episode, not necessarily as much as I would like. I always love more Scotty, but I thought it was weird because I had kind of forgotten a little bit about seeing him in the red Trek outfit uniform. But again, I think the back and forth is really really good, and I think that and this officer outside was just kind of silly. If you're required to guard on the outside, why do you turn away from the door? Why do you just stand on the other side of the hall and face the door? But that notwithstanding, one of the weaker elements is he just sort of like does this sort of like meditation, quick little thing, garners his inner strength and just pulls the door open. It's one of the weaker elements of the thing. He just little Hassan chop. He beams himself back down. He frees all of his other people who are also superhuman, genetically modified peoples. They're all there getting all their new costume on, and he's sort of like he's taking control of engineering, so he has control of life support and all those kinds of things. So basically just takes away their oxygen, they're all going to pass out. We come back from the commercial break, and Kirk's explaining all that to the audience, like they actually are alive. I couldn't save them. And then you have this sort of like faux what's actually going on, and then like this person like smacks Uhura, which was kind of weird to watch. And then it becomes this thing about he's in the decompression chamber, and she's going to she's going to save him. It's one of these things where I like that all of this played out. It's like it was kind of an interesting, uh, contrived point of conflict to create all of this, keep you all like unsteady and even at what's going to go on. How does Khan win or not? How does Kirk get saved or not? I mean, you can kind of see them calling their shots as they go, but they also are never hold back. They're daring, trying to do the Uhura scene, trying to be tough on the crew, see if any of the crew break. And again, character development for them, right? Because they don't break. They all stand with Kirk. And then, of course, she betrays Khan and lets Kirk out. And that doesn't really hold. It does give them an upper hand. We do get a great moment. I love that the person coming around the corner has no idea what's in store for them. Quick little jump out, grab, and then Vulcan neck pinch. Here we go. We need more Vulcan neck pinch. But everybody's great. Everything's great. And then it becomes like this big battle between Kirk and Khan, which is like hand-to-hand choreographed stunts. No one comes to help Kirk, by the way. And you can kind of see stunt double type work at times. Feels like it could be. Some of it's not, but And it wouldn't really make sense that Kirk would be able to hold his own because they're really trying to play up. What's the line early in the show? Like he could pick both of us up with one hand or something. I'm like, wow, that makes no sense whatsoever. But okay. So he would basically when he would hit Kirk, it would break a bone if he was that strong. But and no one comes to help. No one like, okay, well, that's what we do. Uh, but I have to admit, I love it all. He gets the upper hand, and then he's held for trial, and basically we have the twist of fate that is so brilliant. And I wish I knew more about the people at the time's reaction to this because it's one of these things where I've never lived where this wasn't a payoff. Like I've only lived in a way where this was out there and he's left out there and then he comes back and we know what the story is. But in the show itself, it's a weird mercy moment in Trek, and it's such a message of what they're going for. Like even the evil among us should be given their place where they don't have to be put to death or they don't have to be just I mean I know we have is it Star Trek 5 or 6 where we end up with like the Klingon penal colony or whatever. We had all this other crazy stuff that's out there, but nope, we're just going to put him on a planet with his people, let them sort it out. It's like, okay, interesting decision. Comes back to haunt them, of course, but I think for the time, it's a great commentary on the late 60s and peace and love, man, and tolerance, anti-violence, anti-war. Some of those little precursors are all fitting into the theme and the messaging of the show without having being sort of like heavy-handed. And obviously it works because it's what we all still talk about. And then, of course, there's the discussion about Milton and the quotes as we head towards the final scene. So overall, obviously, this is my favorite episode. This and Balance of Terror are the top tier. I have others that I really have enjoyed. Where No Man Goes Before, Where No Man Has Gone Before would rank in that top tier. The Carbonite Maneuver would probably be the top tier. Those are the things. But Space Sea is the one that I've watched. I've watched several times. I was familiar with it going in. Don't think I've added anything here talking with you guys about it because I just love it. It's kind of a weird, hokey thing to just like, hey, love it. You should love it too. Yeah, but that's kind of how my take is on it. So, anyway, hope you guys are enjoying this. I look forward to seeing you guys next week for another one. Thanks for watching. I'm Pops. The story starts off pretty simple. They've got a little distress signal that they're closing in on, and they're
Oh, this is becoming a blooper.
all right. The story gets along. And it was fun to visit again. It never gets old. I really just enjoy Ricotta Monty Blonde's. Oh, blah, 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 blah.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.